Welcome, 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 welcome. Y'all go ahead and log in, log in, log in, log in, log in. Let's all log in, log in. Welcome, 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 welcome. Let's log in. Log in, log in. All right. Seems like I'm the only one logged in so far. Log in, log in, log in. Huh? Holy Temple Church.info. Log in, log in, log in. Welcome unto this place. Welcome. Huh? They doing what? You you be struggling with that thing, don't you? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep. Can I see what? Say again. No, you ain't be able to see nothing down there. You have to do it on there. Go to web page. Everybody's going on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You got this from here. Let me go up front so they can see me. First button right there takes care of the music. That first one on the corner, the white one by the orange. I'm on what? All right, I need you guys to go to the web page. Okay, Princess, I see you. All right, all right. Do we have everyone on? I only see 5 people on. Hit in your, hit in the, hit in the YouTube where everyone is talking to each other. Give them your name and have them add you to the group chat. I don't know who, I don't know who was adding. Princess, were you with Spencer yesterday when you created the group chat? I'm hoping that was you. Princess, can you hear me? You didn't give her your number. Our hope is on next session. Next session will be live at Faith. We'll be at their daycare next Saturday, um, which we really can get more into it. By the next time that we meet again on the third week, we should be on Google Meet, which puts us in a little bit more relaxed setting. Pretty much this format just allows me to talk to you all, for you to gather information, to know what is expected, and if you have any questions, you can just ask. It seems like we're having trouble with someone getting online. I already sent the link. I already did. Okay. No, I'm still here. We'll give it a few more minutes. We'll get started. If there's any questions, you guys can push it through the YouTube, or you can go to the group chat that we have, or you can push it through the YouTube chat. And between the two chats, we may be able to get everything done. Hopefully you got your workbooks. If you don't have your workbooks, hopefully you got your essentials, your your um your essentials. Your workbook will look something like this right here. Your essential book will look like something like this. So you have two different books. Um, I want to talk about safety, but first of all, we're going to talk about why we're here. We want to talk about that. Then we want to talk about professionalism. And then we want to talk about safety, and then we're done. Our classes go from 9 to 2, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. 9 times out of 10, when we're doing this platform, I probably won't do a 9 a.m. to 2 because it's hard for retention span. But what I will do is I will give you plenty of homework within the first hour or two, and then I'll probably resume off. and then I will stay if necessary, if someone needs me to. But initially, we'll go back to the Google Meet platform, which will make it much easier. We can sit down. I have access to the computers. I have access to my phones. I have access to texts, emails, and I have all kind of modes of communication. So from Faith, I only have one person online. Put your phone number, Riley, so they can put you to the chat group. Okay. Okay. All right, let's get started. Welcome to the CDA class. Thank you for attending the Fresh Fruits Incorporated. Um, our point in of mission, or our point of assignment, is not only to teach you about the CDA class and what is expected out of you working in a child care facility. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about, and sometimes people think that child care is nothing but a babysitting agency, which it's not. It's far from it. Our job is to educate our children, because if we don't get them educated by the time they're 3 years old and they take the comprehension test and they cannot pass that test, then the state, who leases out to private entities, penitentiaries, and they make a bed for them. Because it's hard for a kid to go through school without being able to comprehend. Can you imagine going through school not being able to comprehend what's being said, or not being able to understand fully what the teacher's trying to display? But then you have your constituents or your fellow students, who are looking at you and they know that you don't know how to comprehend, and then they begin to beat up your self-esteem. You know, children are mean. You're dumb. You're a dummy. You're retarded. You don't know no better. You can't understand. So the young kid that cannot understand, he can't stay at home. So his mother sent him at home, and he probably hides it because he don't want her to know. So he becomes a bully. He becomes the class clown. He distracts everybody else. He's always in a fight. He becomes victimized. He becomes all of these things. But if we, as daycare workers and associates and daycare centers and organizations, do our job, there should be nothing that's called a terrible 2 or a trifling 3. Should never happen. You have an infant in your care 60 hours a week, and you're training this infant, and you're putting in information, and you're being repetitious. By the time that infant gets 18 months that she's been with the infant teacher, then when you get to the toddler teacher should have an infant that is familiar with pottying, you know, learning some words, colors, shapes, and excited to go on to being, you know, a toddler. Why would that child become a terrible 2? Unless she has some, you know, problems going on, you know, like ADHD, what is it, right, ADHD, or maybe some autism, mild, medium, you know, moderate, severe, right? Mental disorder. Okay, I can understand them things. But for the normal kid, you know, they have cognitive behavior. Cognitive simply means that they know how to act in no matter what area that they're in. They know how to act. If I take you to the grocery store, little Johnny is not acting a fool, cussing mama out. Amen. So we're glad that you're here, and we hope that you learned something from this class. So I want to start the class out. First of all, let me open up in prayer. Father God, we just thank you on today for the opportunity that we may come and may get educated in the craft that we're in. God, we hope that everyone that's under the sound of my voice and that's online, that's streaming, can have open ears, God, and an open mind. And they may be able to see it different when this is all over with. God, let them be free to ask questions so we can answer them. Let your spirit and your anointing fall in this place, that for those that hear this may be enlightened, God, and strengthened in the profession they in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. So now that we're here, we're going to start off with some questions. And if there's anybody that wants to ask a question, hit us through the chat line or hit us through the YouTube where you type in. We have a couple people that will catch the question, and then we can go forth from there. In your workbook, if you have a workbook, again, let me try it again. This is what your workbook will look like if you have a workbook. This is what your essential book will look like if you have that. We will be operating out of both books. Some of you all will be doing the toddler edition, and some of you all will be doing the preschool. Infant, toddler, preschool. And we will operate from both of these books, um, um, depending on which, class that you're in. So, let's talk about why did you, and for those that don't have the workbook, you probably need a sheet of paper, you probably need a pen, because I really don't want you to take this lightly. I don't want you to take the CDA training that you're getting, because this credential is a very important credential. If someone will be kind enough to tell me what the CDA means, I'll look for it in the chat. I appreciate it. This credential is a very good, very important credential. My daughter happened to have a CDA, and she's going to a university, and when they asked for her credentials, she gave all her certificates, and I told her to include that in there. The university came back, and they told her that there was 3 classes that she didn't have to take, and she ended up getting like 5 credits or whatever it was. I'm not sure how many credits, but she got more than 3. And so what that did is that saved her from 2 classes, 16 weeks apiece, and then she didn't have to pay for it. So when she got reimbursed from the university on what was left over from her FAFSA money, she had 2 classes included in that, and she just got paid that money. So that certificate, that CDA certificate, not only saved her from doing 2 classes, which means she would graduate earlier than what she would have normally, and then she's able to get money back from it. This certificate also can take you to any local school. You can be an assistant teacher. This certificate will help you in that endeavor. It helps. It's a great help. So let's get started. I would like you to think about, and I mean, you may need to write this down, so maybe next week when we get together, we can talk about it. But let's just, work with it now. I want you to think about how and why you entered the childhood field as a professional. I want you to think about why you entered and how did you enter into this field. And then I want you to maybe describe what individuals influence your career choice and your interest, and where would you like to go from here? So the CDA, from what I see Candace put in, is Child Development Associate. Okay? And I think Maddie came in also with it. And someone else. And I can't pronounce their name. But what is that? I wish somebody could just tell me what it is. SYDNEE. Yeah. Is that Sydney? Is that just a new way to spell it? Young people. It's something else. Which is correct. I want you to know that when you come in this class, it's not a cakewalk. Your owners, your bosses, those that's over you in the daycare facility, um, have paid a lot of money. They paid a lot of money for your credential. They are paying me a lot of money on your behalf that you may be what you need to be. In the daycare community and the environment, we have something that is called a CPL. If you're in your OCRA, your OCCRRA, it's called a CPL. So you can go from CPL 1 to CPL 6. We need you to be at a CPL 3. That's why it's important that you do your 60 hours online training, 60 hours with me, which gives you 120 hours. So it's important that you get all of that. It's important that you don't lag and get behind in this class. I sent your boss a CDA tracking sheet. A CDA tracking sheet. It'll track every week what we're doing, how we're doing. Now I'm going to add professionalism because the first week we're doing safety. But I'm going to slide professionalism in there before we get started because I want us to understand that we will make it work. Okay? So I just want you to think about how and why you entered in this field. Who invested or who got you interested here? And then what are you going to do from here? And how are you going to do it? You know, one of my biggest complaints in daycares are the children are bad. The children are not bad. The children just need to know how to be managed. And they have to learn how to respect you as a daycare associate. They have to learn how to be equipped by you, that they can be managed by you. Them are the three words I need you to maintain in your mind is that if the children don't respect you, you can't equip them, and you can't manage them. And you have to be able to manage them. You have to be able to equip them, and you have to be able to get respect on both sides of the line. The children need to respect you, and you need to respect the children. That is someone else's child. That is your bread and butter. That's how you eat. Amen, somebody. That's how you eat. So I need you all to be cognizant that when you come back 18 years later and see that child that that you trained and you put into and you invested in, and they come back and say thank you. I said it's nothing like it. We've been doing child care for 24 years now, 24. And there's a young lady that I had 24 years ago I was her teacher. I was her teacher at the time, and I had her mother even working for the daycare while I was her teacher. Well, they happened to come back to me about 2 years ago, and she said, "You used to be my teacher, and we had so much fun." And she said, "I want you to see my baby." And she said, "Show me her baby." And so she put her baby in the daycare again. So now I got 2 generations in the daycare. And then she began to work for me. So here's the girl that I raised up. Then she began to work for me. And then she had another child. And then her mother came right along with her and worked with me again 15, 20 years later. And this thing just goes in a circle. It's a big circle. And people really appreciate you when you really help them to be the best that they can be. I go out in Walmart all the time. I see kids that I had 3, 4 years ago. Well, now they're 13 or they're 15 or they're 18. And they come to me and they say, "Pastor." And I say, "Yes." "Don't you remember me?" "No." "You used to be my teacher." And then when they tell me who they are, I'll be, "Oh, yeah, boy, you done got big." Or, "Girl, you done got big. Give me a hug." And it's just amazing to watch them. Now, I want you to know that maybe I got 90% of success stories, but I got that 10% that I don't even want to share because we have some folks that have been in our daycare, and I think the sad part is once they get out of the daycare and they go to the upper education such as kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and then they get after school care, or maybe they don't even come back for after school care, then we don't have hold of them. We do not understand what has happened after that point. That's why it's very important that we do what we need to do from the beginning. And our house over here is now we're trying to do an after school program. We're doing second shift, third shift. That way we can hold on to some of them kids that we started with and we can keep our hands on them, that they may be managed right, that we may continue to equip them, right? Continue to make sure they have respect. Because sometimes kids won't even listen to their parents or their uncles or their sisters, but they would listen to the person who taught them in daycare. Sometimes they would get back with you and they would ask you for information. The second question, um, you will begin to prepare your professional philosophy and statement. And what that means is you want to reflect on your role as an early childhood specialist, and you want to investigate how young kids learn. And that's how your professional philosophy statement goes. This is what I believe. Professional philosophy statement says, this is my philosophy of early childhood development, and this is what I believe. And I mean, it's okay to take the generic one, or the one that's canned, the one that I'm going to give you, and you take that, but you should be able to spin off of that on your own and say, this is my professional statement, Let me just read this now, and you tell me what you think. To this point where you begin to prepare your professional philosophy statement, which is a work in progress until you complete the entire workbook. It's important to frequently revisit your professional philosophy statement as you continue to reflect on your role as an early childhood educator and investigate how young kids learn. In other words, if you give me your philosophy of how you feel, as being a professional, and how to deal with kids, and how to work with kids, from this first week to this last week, it should be different. You're not going to say the same thing that you said in the first week because you have had extra information to work on. So our hope is that as you go through this journey, that you continue to increase and add to. Everyone that has done a CDA book with me before, I tell them that after you get this book completed, because that's what we're going to do every week, we're going to put our book together. But what I tell everybody is this. When you take that book and we verify you before you get your CDA credential, you take that book to your classroom and you utilize that book in your classroom. You utilize it. And so when I come see you again, or I ask about how you're doing from 2 months or 3 months from now, you should have added more information in your book. In one part of your book, there's a resource book, which tells you here are the resources that you have added to it, like ADHD, right? Or autism. Well, I found 2 more resources that will help me deal with my children better. But if you don't have them resources in your book, and you don't have information in your book, how are you going to be able to help that child? There should be in your educational piece in this book about your education or the modules you have done. I want to continue to do modules. You have to stay tenured in this profession. You have to always do modules. You have to always, get more classes. You have to always get more information because the times have changed. Look at the generation now. We got 3 generations running out there right now, and they're all different. They're all different from 9 years old to 19 years old to 29 years old to 35 years old to 45. They all are different. My infants, my toddlers, my preschoolers, my school agers, they all different. We got 4 different sizes of kids in our daycare, but all of them have different mindsets. All of them have different cultures. One always changes from the other. One always changes. And we always make an excuse. And you have to understand a lot of times because parents don't know then parents will find an excuse on why their kid is the way they is. I have two kids in my daycare right now, and when she brought the kids to the daycare, she said to me that, yeah, they pretty good. They pretty good kids, and they all right. I said, okay. And so, in fact, they happen to be in our daycare maybe 13 hours a day because the mother's job causes her to be out, and then the distance that she drives causes her to be out. Because I recommend 10 hours a day, 2 hours drive time on any other time. But she said they okay. And so when she came back later on that night, and she said, how did they do their first day? I said, oh, they wonderful. They wonderful. Kids is okay. I said, but you are under an illusion because you told me that your kids were normal, and your kids are not normal. And as a professional, there's a thing called a sandwich. You have to, say something nice in the beginning and tell the good part, and then in the middle, really tell them what really the problem is, and then at the end, tell them something good again. That's a great sandwich, right? And I told her, I said, you're under illusion because your son, he was in the daycare, no problems. And you know why he didn't have no problems? Because he stood in the middle of the floor for 4 hours and just looked at the ceiling and didn't do nothing. He was not responsive. In fact, I would like to do an assessment on your son. So we had Easter Seals come and do an assessment. Come to find out the boy had autism. Now, why you didn't know that your son had autism and you a nurse? Well, they knew, but sometimes it's embarrassing to share that information with other people. And you should be able to put yourself and your parents at an ease and a comfortability that they can come to you and share what's going on with their children instead of you find out. Now, in the daycare, we have a thing called ASQs. And what that does, we give that to the mother, and the mother tells us about her child. And when she tells us about the child, that's okay. So when we get that information, because we as CDA, professionals, we should take our ASQs and we should read them, when we get the time when the kids go to sleep and y'all be on your phones. Yeah, y'all be on your phones. Y'all be on your phones, or you try to go to sleep with the kids, knowing that you shouldn't go to sleep with the kids, right? So when you got that 2.5 hours from nap time from about 11:45 to about 2:45, you got that time. You should be looking at all the ASQs of your children, so one, he get agitated, or one get cranky when he don't eat, or one have a problem of drifting off. But because the parent that gave you the information, which is okay because it helped you get a fast track on your child, right? But you should make your own assessments of these children. Your biggest thing that you should do with any class is to have observation. Even though you're teaching, you should always observe how do they act. Do they listen? Do they not listen? Do they move? Are they fidgety? Are they sleepy? Are they clothes dirty? Do they smell? Your observation should always be there for you can make a great evaluation and a great assessment of how to make that children feel safe under your care. So how do I have better relationships with my children? Because my children has to feel safe. They have to feel safe. If they don't feel safe, then we have an issue. And it's not with the child, it's with you. But some of us come into the daycare and we're just trying to get a paycheck. Now hold on. Because I do not have an issue, because there's two reasons why you're in daycare, only two. One is I'm in it for the money, no big deal. And I'm in it because I just want to help the kids, right? And it doesn't make a difference to me which side of the coin you're on, because this is that is this. It's the same thing, but they're different. They're the same, but they're different. Well, I'm in it for the money. So if I'm in it for the money, that means if I'm really in it for the money, then I'm going to have to get educated. I'm going to have to do my modules. I'm going to have to know exactly what I'm doing. So you're going to give me top dollar because I'm worth the top dollar that I'm asking for, because I put an investment in myself to do this particular job. Or I'm in it for the children. Well, if I'm in it for the children, then, psychologically I'm there. I'm do it with the children, but guess what? I'm going to get educated. I'm going to put more time in my modules. I'm going to learn about the culture of the family. I'm going to do all the things I have to do. But guess what? When you do that, the money comes too. So no matter which way motivates you the most about this profession, you still got to get tenured. You still got to get educated, and education doesn't stop after you get this CDA. So your professional philosophy statement should tell us what you think about what you're doing and how you're doing in this profession. And then when we come back next week, it should change. When we come back the week next after that, it should change. The week after that, it should change. The week after that, it should change. It should totally change week after week after week because you're going to learn something different. We have a young man that's in our daycare now. They said he would never walk again. Now he's running down our hallways like he lost his mind. If that didn't change my portfolio, if that did not change who I am as a professional in my class, something's wrong. If I did not document that and put that in my book, in my CDA book, the one that you're creating right now, if I didn't put that under my competency statement, something's wrong. You build your book every time that you can. Every time that you can, you build your book. So I want you to understand that when you talk about your professional philosophy statement, it's just going to tell you where you're at right now. But our hope is that by the end of this class, you'll be somewhere different. Are there any questions so far in this segment of it? Any questions, any statements? Okay. If you were to meet any of the children currently in your setting in 30 years, what would you hope it to be like? You're in daycare right now. 30 years from now, you see one of the kids that was in your setting. What would you hope that to be like? What skills and knowledge would you like them to have? 30 years from now, I just told you about 24 years ago, right? "24 years ago, I had a child come work for me. And it's exciting to see them children come back and talk with you and say, I remember you. But then when you do a little bit more investigation and you find out, well, what are you doing? How's life treating you? And then it'll make you think, what I could have done more to make them be a little bit more successful in their life. Because a lot of times teachers are limited when they train other children. They don't go the extra mile. They don't do the follow-up. They don't check on them. That's why we do an after-school program. I have a couple of my parents who are no longer with me. I miss the children that was with us, so we call, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Hey, is there anything I still can do? Because you're not at my daycare center no more does not mean I'm not available to help. Because that was my kid, and I miss them. So let me call and check on them and see if I can help in any kind of way, or give me a praise report. Give me a testimony. We have a young lady that was in our daycare. She just went to pre-K. And we wonder how she really was going to fare because she was rambunctious here all the time. So I've been following her for the last 3 to 6 months. And she's doing tremendously well, tremendously well. In fact, she'll be back with me this summer. Her mother appreciated that we came to the school and we saw the kid and we come and we talk to the kid. We still do it, even though the kid doesn't belong here, you know. And the mother said, hey, she'll be back with you all in the summer, you know, and then she'll go back to school. And my hope is that I can get my children that I had that are going to school now. My hope is I can get them back in the summer. If I can put my hands on them, I can touch them, I can educate them more, I can love on them some more and say, hey, you're doing a good job. Let's keep doing what we're doing. So every summer, let's look at each other. Every summer, I get a chance to get you back to me. Because once they get into that other school system, sometimes you got teachers there just there for the paycheck. They're not there really to educate the kids. Now, you do have some great teachers out there, but you don't have many. You don't have many. So what you hope that to be? Question 4. Describe your curriculum goals for the children in your setting this year. What are your goals as far as curriculum for your kids this year? What would your goals be? What would your goals be? Describe your curriculum goals for your children. If you don't have curriculum goals for your children, the children are going to bring their culture to you. I can't keep them to sit down. No, because you're not prepared. If you give a kid something to do from the time he get in your room to the time he leave, he cannot bring his culture to the table. What are your curriculum goals? What are you going to bring to the table? How are you going to help that child become better in his socio-emotional and his cognitive behavior? Huh? Number 5. Think about an inspiring teacher, mentor, or coach that you have in your life. Someone who influenced you. What characteristics did they have? I want you to write that down. Just think about somebody that coached you or mentored you or ministered to you, inspired you. What characteristics did they have? And from those characteristics, which ones did you keep? And which ones that you're passing on to the children that you're teaching? Which ones? 6, question 6. How did this person who inspired you or gave you inspiration, how did they make you feel? That's what you should be doing to other children. You should be making them feel the same way you felt from the one who ministered to you, inspired you. As a student, how did you feel? And do you think that you're relaying the same feeling towards the student that you're dealing with now? Number 7. Describe your role as an early educator. And also think about your role as working with the family. So in other words, describe your role as a teacher and an early educator. Describe your role. And in your description about your role, think about, are you supporting the child's development and learning? Are you supporting the child's development or learning, or are you just arguing with them and fussing with them and telling them, no, stop, Johnny, stop, Johnny, stop, Johnny, stop, Johnny. Now you're rapping because you're making a song. Johnny, stop, 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 stop. Or are you really supporting the role? Because it's very hard to have Johnny to stop and you don't know where Johnny come from. Johnny brings his culture to your daycare, like Billy, Bob, and James. All of them bring their culture to your daycare. If you do not know that culture of a child, whether it's a single parent, double parent, no parent, living in the system, they all think differently. And the first thing they'll say is, if you don't have enough information to give me while I'm with you, let me give you my information that I have because I want to testify. So now he'll hit somebody. He'll spit, he'll bite, he'll fight, he'll throw chairs because that's his culture. But until you support his development and his learning, he's going to continue to do that. He'd rather be developed and learn than spit, bite, fight, and throw. Them are just attributes because somebody have not taught him. So our job is to be able to teach Johnny, Bob, Ricky, James, and Nolan. That's our job. Verse number 8. Begin to think about what quality looks like in early childhood education. And how do you define quality in early childhood education? How do you define that? What does that look like, quality? When I come into your room to do a verification visit, what does quality look like? Because I'm going to look around. I want to look on your walls. I want to look on how you do things. I want to look on your dress. I want to look how you do self-care. I want to think about quality that you bring to the center. What quality do you bring? There has to be some type of quality that you bring to an educational setting. Because the educational setting is me. And you always have to do that as a professional. Your character should be all draped all over your room. Your thoughts and your character, right? And the things that you want someone to learn. The colors in the room, the way it's set up, the way the flow, the rhythm, the ambience in a room, the anointing, if you will, in a room. So when I come in the room, whatever reservations that that teacher has or that parent has, when she walk into your room, all of that should dissipate because of your room. When that child walk in the room, he should say, whoa, this is different. And I want to be able to see what they got to offer. You should make that kid look at you and say, whoa, look at this room. That's why the state comes in and they look at your room, and if your OCOT is not together, they don't pass you for step up to quality. There has to be an ambiance of a learning environment for them to even pass you. You cannot get passed if your OCOT is not correct. They're not going to give it to you. They're going to tell you, no, go back and try it again. I want you to think about what quality looks like. 3 more questions, because this is what I want to do when we get started. What did you bring to the table when you came to our facility? When you came to We Care Daycare, when you came to Faith, what did you bring? What did you bring to the table? What abilities did you bring to the early childhood field? What did you bring? And how do your skills that you brought benefit my children and benefit my mothers and fathers, my families? What did you bring to the table? You come to us to get training. You come to us to get a job. You come to us to be on the platform, to be part of a winning team. Somebody say that part right there, a winning team. Yeah, I'm on a winning team. But that winning team can't be a winning team if you're not there, because we don't win on our own. My daycare is not what it is without the people that I have helping me run it. Without them, we are nothing. I have to value my team, my workers. And even though sometimes it don't look like it, even though sometimes it don't sound like it, but we've been here for 24 years. You know, you can't bat an eye at that. You know, you can't be lucky with that. We've been here 24 years. I have had people to help me to maintain my building and my daycare center or centers for 24 years. We don't mind paying folks good money for daycare because we don't want to micromanage. If you allow your administrator and your owner to do other things and find other revenues and resources to make the daycare better, instead of them being misdirected by you, taking time, you know, because you won't do a module, you won't take notes, you won't follow the rules. Even though we wrote them on the paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put them on the wall, you'll look more to your phone and gossip with your friend that you don't even know than taking care of the business of being a professional. So what do you bring to the table? And how can your skills and your abilities benefit the children and the parents at the daycare? What are the number 10? What are the goals of your program's curriculum? And how do you pursue them? Or do you even know what the goals are? Some folk come into a daycare and they don't know it has a mission or a vision. What is your mission statement? Yeah, put this down because I'm going to ask you next week. What is your mission statement and your vision statement at your daycare? We got a 4-piece puzzle here. We serve God. We help the parents. We teach the children. And the community benefits from what we do. That's our mission and our statement. We serve God first. We understand without God, we would not be in the position of the opportunity that we have. Without God, we wouldn't be able to evangelize the children that we have. Without God, we would not be able to heal and teach and educate and love on the kids that we have. Without God, we wouldn't be able to do that. Without that parent, we wouldn't have that child. So we get opportunity to help the parent, not only help the parent by raising and educating their child, but helping the parent to be a better parent. Our job is to help them to become a better parent. Not just by babysitting, because we don't babysit, we educate. Y'all should get that in your spirit. We don't babysit, we educate. That's what we do. And then we educate that child that he can be the best that he's going to be. Because whatever he becomes 20 years from now, remember you're getting older and you have put somebody on this planet to be better that would have never been better without your help. So we help that child. And by doing that, the community benefits. Because if we do our job, we have less robbers and killers and dope boys and prostitutes and gang members. If we do our job. So what are the goals of your program's curriculum? Our mission statement is that we serve God. We help the parent. We educate the kid. And the community benefits. That's what we do here. Some people say there's not money in daycare, but there is. And we don't mind paying our associates money for their worth. If I never have to come to your room and I'm always getting good raves and reviews, I don't want to lose you. I want to keep you. It's just like, the NFL, NBA. They pay them good money to stay. Because without them, they can't win a championship. Kansas City got Patrick Mahomes. They're going to pay him everything they can pay him. He done brought 3, Super Bowls already. Less than 10 years. They're going to pay him what he wants. They know he's going to fizzle down the way. But even 15 years from now, he's still going to be a better quarterback than most people. Our hope is that some of you not only decide to be great associates while you're in the daycare setting, but maybe one day have your own. Because if you can help us run ours, you should be able to help run your own. But it's not a Cracker Jack box. It ain't a microwave. It takes some time. You have to learn this thing. Number 11, last question. It may be hard to explain to others why you're committed to teaching young children. A sense of passion for the profession comes in with intangible feelings of drive, desire, and readiness to take risks. Help others understand your motivation by thinking about your personal feelings toward the early childhood field. In other words, people may not understand why you're here doing what you're doing, but can you really tell them what motivates you to come here? And if you could tell them what motivates you to do what you're doing, I really would like to hear that. Why are you here? What motivates you to be in early childhood? Did you just come in, off the whim, and you found out that you liked it? 24 years ago, they gave me a church. In order for the church to grow, how was we going to get revenue? I didn't know what to do. So I depended on God. And God specifically told me to open up a daycare. Now, mind you, I'm not educated in daycare. I'm in sales and marketing. I don't know nothing about children. I don't want to mess with baby kids because I come out of the hood. I had, 7 kids in my family. I raised them when I was young. I didn't want to be bothered with no kids, so I think they took my young life away from me. Now you're telling me to put a daycare up, but being obedient, I did. And the first 3-4 years, I still didn't understand why I was doing it, but when we got up, we never looked back. And we began to train lives, and then I took it as evangelism. I took it as me having the opportunity to bring young children to know Christ when they never would have got another chance. Then children came into my daycare and they were sick, and we'll lay hands on them, and God would heal them. God gave us resources that we could help a whole lot of people in the community, but I still didn't understand why I was doing and what motivated me to be in the daycare field, because that was nothing that I never wanted to do. But after some time that I got in it, I began to see the full picture. And then I wanted to be dedicated and committed. So I went back to school, and I got a master's in early childhood education. I didn't get a master's in childhood education from K to 12. I got a master's in early childhood education with a minor doing K to 12. My major was to do daycare, because if we don't get this right from the beginning, it's going to be rougher on the end. Now that I've been here 24 years, I love it. I'm motivated by it. I got some kids in here that's off the charts. I'm motivated to come in here and break that spirit and give them a spirit of success instead of a spirit of fear, instead of a spirit of failure, a confusion. I don't need them to have them spirits. I am motivated to come in here now. And not only for my children, but for my parents, and not only for my parents, but for my workers, and not only for my workers, but for the community. And not only for that, but for God. Did I just give you our mission statement again? That's our mission. I'm motivated by our mission. That's why I'm a PD specialist. That's why I teach this class. That's why I said, let's get our CDAs. Don't think this is going to be a cakewalk, because it's not. A lot of work. There's a thing called the ORC and the OAC, the Ohio Revised Code, which you will be learning about that next week, and the Ohio Administrative Code. These are the two codes that govern us in daycare business. These are the two codes that governs us in the daycare business. I wanted to take a time to maybe stop to see that we have any questions. Are there any questions? So this is what I want you to do. For all of you who are viewing, hit me now and say I'm here. Because you know how we do. We'll turn the computer on, we'll walk away, and we'll go eat some breakfast, lay down, take a nap, let me finish talking. So if you can type in now that I'm here. I'm here. It's 10 o'clock. I'm here. I'm waiting. Hello? I'm waiting. One, two, three, four, five. Okay. Any questions? The two that I have with me today, you don't see them because I'm looking at them. So they don't have to tell me that they're here because I'm looking dead at them. You should be excited about getting your CDA. You should be excited to learn more. And let's find the real reason that you're here. And you know what? Maybe you ain't one of them that, I'm excited about daycare. But when we finish this course, I promise you, you will be happy that you chose this field. You'll be ecstatic. You'll do backflips. You'll be glad that you chose this field. And for you who are parents, you'll be better parents. I can't get no help right there, but you will be better parents. For you that don't have no children, you'll respect children even more now because you just don't know what they go through in these times, in these last and evil days. You just don't know. We can't even take our children to certain places no more because the times are evil. We're going to deal with, and we're going to take a break, we're going to deal with the 13 components of the CDA class. 13 components. So I'm not going to give you a description. I'm just going to tell you what they are. You should find that in your book on page number 8 in your essentials, working with young children. Should look like this. The book should look like this. Should look like this. 13 essentials. The first one is safe. Children has to be safe. The second one is healthy. The third one is learning environment. And that's your first competency statement. Your first competency statement that we're going to do is safe, healthy learning environment. Them three will be your first competency statement. Second competency statement would be physical, cognitive, communications, creative. I'll say it again. Physical, cognitive, communication, creativity, or creative. Now I want you to know that this session today is being recorded and you always can go back to it. You always can go back to this and look at it. Physical, cognitive, communication, and creative. And what that does is it advances the physical and the intellectual competence. The first one, safe, healthy, and learning environment. It establishes and maintains a safe, healthy, and learning environment. Remember I told you there has to be respect, equipped, and managed. Well, that's what safe, healthy, and learning environment does. It's almost like church. If I don't feel safe in church, if I'm not healthy in church, if I don't learn in church, then why go? I can't get no help right there. For some of you preachers out there, you'll preach that. I want to establish and maintain a safe, healthy learning environment. That's how your church gets full. That's how people stay in your church. They feel safe. They're healthy. They better than, they better leaving when they came in. They better leaving your church than they was when they came in. And then they learn something and they go out and evangelize. When you learn something in the church or you learn something in daycare, guess what? You go out and you evangelize or you share someone else what you learn. You know how many children that leave the daycare and they go home and say, hey, we went to Indiana today. What? They went to another state. They seen the sign, welcome to Indiana. You're now leaving Ohio. They're excited about it. Number 4, physical. This will be your second competency statement. You'll talk about physical. You'll talk about cognitive. You'll talk about communication. You'll talk about creative. This will advance the physical and the intellectual competency of the child. One more time and let me keep going. Physical, cognitive, communication, creative. Any questions from this point? Any questions from this point? Third competency statement. You'll do a total of 6. Your third competency statement will include these things: self, social, and guidance. Self, social, and guidance. Self, social, and guidance. And that's important to your child because it supports social and emotional development. and it provides a positive guidance. And this is what I was saying earlier. How do you get to a terrible 2 or a trifling 3 if I took care of self, social, and guidance? Kids should be excited to learn, not excited to tear up, not excited to be rambunctious in the wrong way, not to the point of being evil. Competency 4 statement would be families. Families, which is a big part, and we're going to talk about that, especially when we get in that segment. We get in that segue, we will be able to talk about families. Your 5th competency statement is program management. And if that's the biggest Achilles heel in any daycare, program management. Our motto here is that we do the same thing every day. No matter what nobody say, no matter what nobody do, no matter how nobody acts. We do the same thing in our program management. We open up 24 hours here, 24 hours a day. We are open. 6 a.m. I got children coming in. First thing we do, we lay them down. They will not get back up to 7:45. 7:45, they'll go to the restroom, wash their hands. 8 o'clock, we're eating breakfast. Every day. When they walk in our building, the music is playing. Let me walk in here and it's not playing. We do the same thing every day. No matter what nobody say, no matter what nobody do, no matter what nobody, I don't care about how nobody feels. We do the same thing because we have to be cognitive toward the children that we teach. So we have to have program management. 8:30 they eat breakfast. At 8:30 they start curriculum. And that curriculum is according to how that teacher, in the infant room, they probably do tummy time. In the infant and the toddler and the preschool room, they probably doing rug circle time. They're on the rugs doing circle time, doing what they're supposed to be doing. They do music. They go outside. We know at 11:15 everybody's eating. We know at 11:45, no later than 12, everybody's asleep. We know from 12 to 2:45 that them children, while they're getting the rest, that we should be, cleaning up and disinfecting and doing modules and learning more ASQs, learning more about our children, instead of being on our phones, instead of trying to take a nap on the side, instead of going on lunch for an hour and you come back an hour and a half later. You have to learn to respect the daycare that you're in because we do the same thing, and you have to handle this program management. Now, the 6th one is my favorite one, and we're going to talk about that today, and that would be professionalism. You have to be a professional to maintain a commitment to be professional. Not to be a commitment to the establishment, but a commitment to be professional. Because if you be professional to the establishment, we're going to benefit from it. So we thank God for each and every one of you. We want to take a 15-minute break. Any questions so far? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, let's do another check. I need another check. Go ahead and hit the YouTube and let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're here. I just want to make sure y'all on time. Your employer is paying a lot of money for you to learn how to be the best that you can be. And who knows, you may own your own daycare one day. Don't take this for granted. Don't despise the small stuff. Sometimes we may look at this just being a small part of our growing in daycare, but I promise you this is the largest part of you being a daycare associate. This is the largest part. Any questions? Any questions? It's 10:12. I'll see you back at 10:30. I'm gonna go over safety, and I'm gonna go over professionalism. I'm gonna try to have you out by 11:30 today, even though I know we do 9 to 2. But I want to do 11, maybe 11:30 because we'll give a lot of homework. So I don't want to bombard you with all this time online when I can just give you homework. So when I see you next week, you'll have it done. So if I would have kept you to 2 o'clock and then give this to you, we'd do another 3, 4, 5 hours of work. But if I stop now, you still owe me 2.5 hours. So I'm going to give you 2.5 hours of work. So we'll see you back in 10:30. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. All right. All right. Huh? Okay. All right. Everyone's here. Check in. Come on, everyone check in. We make sure we got everybody here. We welcome Christy here. Thank you. All righty. And then the two that I have with me, they don't have to check in because I am looking at them. All righty. Okay, we're back. Again, just for the brevity of time, I want to make sure that um, that I get you together. So y'all make sure that because I know some of you don't have your books, so we'll make it work. Um, so let me take care of this real quick. Yes, yes. How can I help, ma'am? Yeah, I'm online doing my CDA. You're supposed to be on there. See you later. Okay. Um, okay. Let me see. We got everybody together. Okay. For those that do not have, for those that do not have their books, we'll make sure that you get a book. You should have. And I think Faith. I think all of you all have your book. You should have your essentials book right here. That's the workbook. I don't know that he give you the workbook or not, but worst case scenario, at least have this book. This is your essentials book. This is your workbook that goes with it. And this is the infant book. This is the toddler book. Okay? So when we get with you live next week, um, we'll talk about that. So to recap what we did in the first hour, we just talked about why are you here? Why are you here? And what abilities that you bring to this field, if any? And how can we utilize them abilities to make the center that you're at better? I think the best thing for anybody in early childhood um, um, environment is to make sure that you learn. A lot of times we have our own thoughts, we have our own things that would seem normal, but because you haven't been in the field long enough, sometimes it's great just to listen and absorb and to, pile up. It's like a squirrel that piles up its nuts before winter comes. So when winter comes, that they still have food until spring comes. So you are in your winter months right now in the child care field. And you're gathering up nuts or nuggets or information that you may chew on during the winter. So when spring comes, you can spring out, right? You can be sprung. And you can come out and you'll be more readily available than you was when you first started. It takes 6 months to a year to even get this down packed, just to get the basic part of CDA training or to get daycare training or to be a daycare associate. It takes at least 6 months to a year of doing continual repetition. And the biggest problem that we have in daycare is that folks cannot be consistent, or the Bible says to be meek, M-E-E-K, consistently consistent. You have to be consistent with this, because once your children learn that the program is not run by a particular teacher, for some odd reason, teachers think, well, my children love me, and without me, there ain't no daycare. That ain't true. That's not true. We've been up 24 years. I don't have the same teachers that I had 24 years ago. And when they left, and when my teachers left, for whatever reason they left, whether I got rid of them or they decided that this wasn't for them, the program still went forward. The kids didn't fall apart. They didn't get confused. They didn't want to commit suicide. None of that, because you left. So don't think that you the end all and all of the daycare, because you're not. The daycare runs off of program management, not off the teacher. It runs off program management. It runs off of something that is solidified and validated and certified over the years. We do the same thing every day, no matter what nobody say, do, or how they act. And you can come to our daycare in Dayton, Ohio, and the kids in Dayton, Ohio, will tell you it's time to go outside. It's time to eat. It's time to do circle time. It's time to read a book. It's time to take a nap. They'll tell you what time it is. If you ain't home, you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing. They will remind you, hey, this is what we do. It's time to go potty. I got to wash my hands before I eat. I got to say my prayers before I eat. It's program management. And all they want is somebody that can follow that program, because they done got used to the program now. And they don't want you to confuse them doing your own thing. So stick to the program, stick to the management part, and we're going to be okay. So we're going to do our first competency statement. So when I see you again, I need a competency statement. I don't need it no more than 2 paragraphs. 2 paragraphs. Write this down. Write this down. ORC, Ohio Revised Code. OAC, Ohio Administrative Code. I think it's 5101 and 5104. 5101 and 5104. All right? Now, there's a lot of you who do not have books, and that's okay, because we're in the infant stage of our class. This class today is just for information. For information. I need Chrissy to give the phone number online so they can put you in the chat for the CDA class. I need Kia to give her phone number so they can put you in the chat in the class. So, Christy, if you can give them your phone number, if you can give them your phone number, they will put you in the CDA chat class. And Yakia, if you can give them your phone number, they will put you in the chat class. So when we talk into our because after we get offline, we do have a CDA chat class, a chat text message group. Okay? So we'll have someone to put you in that class. So every time that you get information, every time that you, and don't you guys worry about this, because we're already a week behind. So we'll put it together. Just type your number, Chrissy, just type your number. Just type your number. One of the girls that's online will take it and add you into the um, text. We should have started last week, but because of things, other things that got involved, so we put it together. So today is nothing but an informal um, meeting to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we expect. And then next week, we're going to be ready to start. Next Saturday, we're going to be ready. We'll be at Faith. We'll be there live, and we'll be ready to start. For those that cannot make it, maybe we'll get you on FaceTime, or maybe we'll put some apparatus together that you can tie in with us and know what we're doing. Okay? So, your CDA competency statement, your first week, we'll be talking about safety, being healthy, and a learning environment. And I want you to put that in no more than 2 paragraphs. And I want you to do the OAC and the ORC for those that are in Ohio. For those that are in Indiana, I want you to do the IC, which is the Indiana Code. So whatever you say about safety, I need you to cite it from the ORC or the OAC, which lets me know that you went there, looked at it, 5101 and 5104. The Ohio Revised Code is for those that own daycares, and it tells them what they must do to maintain the daycare. The OAC, the Ohio Administrative Code, tells you how to administer the code to the daycare. So that's pretty much for those that are teachers in the daycare. And the IC in Indiana is the Indiana Code, and it tells us how to run our daycares. So when we say whatever we say in our competency statements, I want them to be cited from these resources. That way I know that you went there. That way that I know that you understand the content. And that way I know that you comprehend. When you go to a daycare, when kids come in your room, this is what should happen. They should respect me. That's what the kid is looking at, for you to respect them. And you expecting the kid to respect you. The kid is looking at you and he's thinking that you should equip me, because I don't know how to read, write, or know my shapes. So the kid is expecting you to equip him. The kid is expecting you to manage him, which we call cognitive behavior. The kid is expecting you to evaluate him, because we want to observe, evaluate, assess, and evaluate. Observe, assess, evaluate. The kid wants you to care about him because he wants to be cared for. I saw the question. I'll stop right here and let me answer the question. The 2 paragraphs in your first competency statement should include safety. In other words, this is how I keep a child safe. I make sure when he gets on the bus, he has a seatbelt on. He's sitting in a safety chair. I make sure that if he's getting carrots, I make sure they are chopped up and not give them to him whole. I make sure that when he goes to the restroom, he do not go to the restroom by himself. I make sure that when I'm watching my infants, I'm not on my telephone. I'm watching my infants so they don't pick up nothing and put it in their mouth. But then I go to the OAC or the ORC, and I give the rule of safety. which lines up with what I already said. I go and I talk about being healthy. My children eat healthy. This is what they eat. They eat carrots and peas and spinach and not fried foods. We do not fry any food in our daycare. We bake everything that we do because we want them to be healthy. And then my learning environment. My learning environment must be safe. My learning environment has to be safe. It has to be safe. So that means I ain't got no cords hanging around from the televisions where kids can hang, wrap the cord around someone else's neck. My learning environment has to be looking inviting. It has to be inviting that I want to go in and it's clean. I feel comfortable. I'm safe. And that's what I want you to write in them 2 paragraphs. And I want you to find the rules for a learning environment in the OAC and the IC. I want you to write something about being healthy. That's in the ORC, the OAC, the IC. I want you to do the same thing with safety. Did that answer your question? Who gave me the question? Is that Maddie? Maddie, did that answer your question? Perfect. Again, when a child comes in your room, the child needs you to respect him, and the child really needs to respect you. But he needs you to respect him first, because something has to be built between the two of you all for him to respect you back. And I know it doesn't sound fair. But that's what has to happen. But then once you get in past the respect part of the teacher and the child, then you have to equip me. Without respect, you're never going to get equipped. And I want you all to know that. Even with your owners and your administrators, if you do not respect them, they're never going to be able to equip you. In fact, they may not even want to equip you because it's a waste of time if there's no respect in it. It has to be respect in it to be equipped. So they just need you to equip me, show me. But there's respect on both sides. If you are in a daycare setting, that means the owner respects you because he lets you into his business. He lets you into his dream. He lets you into his calling. He lets you in. Don't take this for granted that people have to hire you because they don't. So if they hired you, it's some form of respect already given. Now all you have to do is build on what's been given. With a kid, they have to get respect out of you first before they get it. With a job, you have to get respect out of the job first before you give it. The job gives you the job. Your employer gives you the job. He shows respect because I'm giving you the job. Now you got to build on it. The kid comes in. He before he gives you respect, he got to see how you're going to respect him. Then he gives it to you. When you get to them 2 points, then you're able to be equipped. And then if I can equip you, then I can manage you. Then the kid don't mind you managing him. In fact, he expects it. He looks at you now and say, what do we do next? We do the same thing every day, no matter what nobody say, do, or how they act. And then he says, now that you managing me, he says, evaluate me and tell me how I'm doing. So now he becomes your helper. Now you give him praise. Now you tell him he's doing good. Acclamation, self-actualization. I'm telling you that you're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good. Then the kid wants you to care about him because you don't know what's going on at home. So the kid needs you to care about him. The kid wants you to challenge him, to stretch him. I know I ain't got it right the first time, but it may take me 20 times to get it. But stretch me, challenge me, make me become a better kid. But if I do what you ask me to do, then reward me. The child wants you to reward him. Then he looks at you and say, after you reward me, continue. Critique me. Critique me. Show me what I can do to be better. Since we're a Christian daycare, pray for me. Faith, your name ain't faith by happenstance. Because we walk by faith and not by sight. And it's impossible to please God without faith. So they say, pray for me. And then after you pray for me, let's don't stop the process. Then groom me. And after you groom me, then enlighten me even more. And then after you enlighten me, then lead me. So the attributes of a good teacher, a good worker, a good administrator, is that you have to respect, 1. You have to equip, 2. You have to manage, 3. You have to evaluate, 4. You have to care about, 5. You have to challenge or stretch, 6. You have to reward me, 7. You have to critique me, 8. You have to pray for me, 9. You have to groom me or prepare me, 10. You have to enlighten me, 11. And you have to lead me, 12. The 12 attributes of success in your class hinge on these 12 principles. Any questions? We'll go over the 12 one more time. You have to respect me, 1. Equip me, 2. Manage me, 3. Evaluate me, 4. Care about me, 5. Challenge me or stretch me, 6. Reward me, 7. Critique me, 8. Pray for me, 9. Groom me or prepare me, 10. Enlighten me, 11. Lead me, 12. That's the 12 attributes of a great teacher, administrator, and worker in a child care setting. Any questions? Remember, your first competency statement is to establish and maintain a safe, healthy, and learning environment. Competency statement simply says, I can comprehend that. Well, tell me how you're going to do it. Tell me, how you'll keep them safe, how you're going to keep them healthy, how are you going to keep them in a learning environment. Remember, when I come for the recertification or the verification session, after we finish this and getting your books together, I am the one that's going to come, and I'm going to verify you. You'll be done took your CDA test, and when I verify you and I pass you, you'll automatically have your CDA. So I am the one that's going to come verify you. So all the stuff that we're talking about is based on what I'm training you. So I'm looking for this when I come for verification. When I come for verification, I want to see what we talked about. I just don't want to tell you. I just don't want to show you in the book. I want it to manifest in your classroom. I want to come to your facility, and I want to see, are you doing what we said? And if you're not doing what we said, then what I would do is I will share with you on what you need to do. That's why we're coming to Faith, and that's why we come to We Care Daycare, Indiana. That's why we come to We Care Daycare right here in Dayton, Ohio. That's why we're coming to see you live, because I want to see what you're doing. And I will be at all three facilities, and I will see that you do any of the things that we talked about. And then if you have not, I will give you a sheet and say, hey, why don't you take care of this and try this? I will make sure we give you what you need to be successful in your room, in your establishment. Okay? Okay. So, it's 11 o'clock. If you have and for those that don't have their book, again, don't panic, don't worry about it. We'll make sure you have to order your own book, but we'll make sure you order your book. It takes them about 3 days to give it to you. In fact, if you go to your council, go to yourcouncil.org, COUNCIL, that council, yourcouncil.org, yourcouncil.org, yourcouncil.org. If you go there, you can go to you create you an account, and you can go to the bookstore, and it'll give you a bundle of 3. One of them will be a preschool book, one of them will be an infant and toddler book, then there's the workbook and the essentials book. You need all 3. For those who are, their classes are being paid for by their owners, that means that there is a commitment that you will have with that owner for 1 year. There's a contract that you will have with that owner for 1 year. That way you don't get your CDA and then you jump and try to go somewhere else. They will put a contract on you that, hey, we paid for this and we're expecting you to be committed to us. Then after that, if you decide to leave, that's fine. And I think that's more than fair, because CDA training is $1,500. It's $1,500. Call any university. You can do CDA training for $1,500. Now, you also can do it for 4C. 4C would do CDA training for you also for free. But it takes you 1.5 years to get it. You guys will be out of here in, I don't know, how many weeks? 9 weeks. We'll probably do 13 to be safe, 13 to 15. With 13 to 15 weeks, we'll be safe. You'll have your CD credential in your hand in 18 weeks instead of waiting 1.5 years. And your employer decided to pay for you. They paid me for you. They paid me for you, that you may have this credential. Some of you will be better than others because you've been in the business longer. Some of you are just now getting in the business, but don't worry about it. I promise you we'll train you right. We will train you right. Let me take this time just to tell you that I am a father of 6. I'm an ex-Marine, Vietnam veteran. I've been to Ohio State University, and this is where I hold my degrees. The Ohio State University, Wilberforce University, Northwestern University, Regent University. We have a master's in early childhood education. We've been doing daycare work and service for 24 years. We have multiple stores or multiple daycares. One in Indiana. Well, I got two buildings in Indiana. I got one that's operating now, and I have another one that's waiting for me to open up. I have one in Dayton, Ohio, and I got a couple centers that we deal with in Cincinnati. So we've been doing this for a long time. We currently now hold 3 stars. We really should be at 5. but because of the people that we hired and we give opportunity to, didn't take advantage of it, which prolonged us. Because sometimes when we do the CDA, you need these CDA certificates for step up to quality to give you the fourth and fifth star. I think, Faith, you are at 3, I believe, or maybe 4, I don't know. But I think you there. But the more CDAs we have, the better our program management is, and the more money that comes through to help us be better teachers and preparers of education. So we thank God for you. I've been teaching CDAs now for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, something to that effect. I've been around. I've been into the CDA, or I've been into childhood education 24 years. They pretty much seen it all. I done saw some things, and you know, some things I'm happy to report, some things I'm not. You know, we just appreciate you all doing what you're doing. So I'm more than certified and qualified. I do have my CDA gold standard. We've been holding that, I don't know, about 10 years. And so, like I said, we've been around. And then for a man to be in daycare is not seen as much. You know, the daycare industry is dominated by women. You know, so I'm a rarity in the group, and we just thank God for the opportunity being able to be here. So when we talk about the safety part of this, I gave you what I needed in the competency in your book if you don't have it, you know. And I think in Indiana we will sit down and talk about how we're going to go forth in the CDA process. Even though we talked about it, we didn't have a definite date. And since everyone else was going left and right, I put you in a group that was serious about doing what they were doing, Christy. And so I just put you in that group. And instead of making you wait longer, this was a group that was up because I could have waited for the other group. I got 2 other groups that are trying to go forth, but they're just going back and forth too many times, Christy. So I decided to take this particular group and just add you in this group. So you just got thrown into it, and you know, sometimes it can be a little shocking, but you know, I thought that you really need to get in it now versus later for you to get to where you need to be. So you got thrown in this one based off of someone else deciding to say, hey, we're ready. So we thank God for Faith. So you got safety, your safety part. This is what I'm going to need. I need you guys to go over your safety. Christy, I will copy the first chapter for you and the second chapter for you, so you can be right with it. The CDA functional area, which is called SAFE. The candidate provides a safe environment and teaches children safe practices to prevent and reduce injuries. So when we talk about keeping children safe, we want to keep children safe physically. We want to teach children about safety. We want to model safe practices. We want to respond to injuries and emergencies. And we want to engage families in safe practices. Let me say that again. We want to keep children physically safe. We want to teach children about safety. We want to model safe practices. We want to respond to injuries and emergencies. That's that form, the injury, reform that we have. The most important form that we have. And we want to engage families in safe practices. So you have to maintain a safe physical setting, and sometimes we do have our problems with children who act up and act out and throw cheers and all these type of things. And sometimes, when you have that assistant as you a lead teacher, because in the class there's 2 people in a class. It should be 2 people after you get over, like your toddler room is 7-to-1 ratio. When you get 8, it's nice to have 2 people in there because you can maintain it better. But if not, one person should be able to handle 7 children. Preschool, 1 to 12. Should be able to handle 12. Because if you put them in the areas or the modules that they should be in, they have different settings in your room. You should have at least 5 settings. So if you got 12 kids, you should be able to put 2 kids or 3 kids at a table and have 4 different sections that you just maintain. So we're going to teach you how to do all of that in this class. Because it's with 12 kids, well, don't think about the guy that has the school age. The school age is 1 to 20. One guy for 20 kids. What? Yes. 1 to 12. 1 to 7 for toddler. 1 to 4 for infant. Anytime you go over 5 and you step up to quality, then it's 1 to 5 for 2 teachers. Pathway to quality the same way in Indiana. So we want to keep the children physically safe. We want to teach children about safety. We want to model safe practices. And we want to engage families into safe practices. Now listen, I understand that, life goes on, and I do understand that when we're in the daycare and nobody's around, integrity happens when nobody's around. When nobody's around, the boss ain't around, and you say, well, I ain't going to do this, I'm not going to do that. But I want you to know that we know. We know when you ain't done it. We know when you sort of skip every now and then. Now, in our daycare in Dayton, we call it pineapple. Sometimes you need a pineapple. A pineapple means I need a break. Hey, I need to go take a 15, 20, 30-minute break. Now, everybody is not afforded that position. And especially initially when you open it up a daycare. Like we opened up one in Indiana, and we just started, and things are starting to crank up a little bit for them over there now. So we're going to have to add another person to them. That way they'll be a little bit more freer to get their pineapple. But this daycare walk is a very good walk. But sometimes we as teachers drop the ball because we forget about being consistent. You have to stay consistent. You have to. And you have to be honest with yourself. If I'm there and I'm falling asleep, then just say, hey, I am tired. Go get your Energy Red Bull, ask somebody to bring you one, or, do what you have to do to be that professional. Because you keep coming into the daycare, and a person like me that owns daycares, I'll come in and I ask a question, or I see some stuff, and I'm asking the question because I know what I'm looking for in the response. And if you don't give it to me, it's because you haven't done it on a regular. And I know that. I know it automatically. I can go to your kids, and we can start doing activities. And when they're not familiar with that activity, I know that you haven't been doing it. You may be doing your own thing that you thought was activity, but if you're not doing it the way that we do it, then I know that you have not done it that way. That's why we have a curriculum on the wall. That's why we have a lesson plan on the wall. That's why we have a schedule on the wall. And you need to follow that. And if your children are not used to following that, that means you're not doing it. Program management. Because you think because we're not there, we don't know. We do know. And we walk in and we start doing the program because we can do it with our eyes closed because we have done it so long. Sister Caroline, Faith, have been in daycare just as long as I've been. I think she may even got me beat. She may got 25, 26, 27 years in, maybe 30. She's been doing daycare for a while. So, when she comes in, she knows what she's looking for. And for you all who just starting, and you think you'd be smarter than the person that's been in it for 25 years or so, it's just not going to happen. So learn this craft. It's a beautiful craft. So you want to keep your kids safe. You want to maintain that setting. You want to protect them, from things like lead and all that type of stuff, lead poisoning, carbon monoxide, all that good stuff. You want to protect them from choking and suffocation and strangulation. You want to protect them from that. And we don't put cribs in the bed, children in the cribs, and put blankets in there with them and toys in them with there. We don't do that. Safe Sleep says we don't do it. We put them on their back. You know, on page 18 of your book, we talk about food storage tips from the USDA. You may want to utilize that in your competency statement. Because I want to keep my kids healthy. Sleep safety and protecting infants from SIDS. If you haven't did the sleep module, you may want to consider doing that module. I place the infant on his back up to what age? Someone tell me. Someone break in and tell us, how many months do you keep an infant on his back before you let him turn on his stomach? Somebody give it to me. Let me see, do you know? I got 5. No. How many months? Come on, crew, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Just take a guess. 12. 12 is the number. 12. And then after they get 12 months in the crib and you can take them off their back, then do you roll them on their stomach? Or can you let them go on their stomach? Can you roll the child over after 12 months on his stomach? Come on, Sydney, let me hear you. I get a yes from Christy. Can you roll the kid over in his crib after 12 months? Sydney says, I see her with yes. I don't know what yes means, but can you roll your kid over on his stomach? Can you roll the kid over on his stomach or her stomach in the crib after 12 months? Somebody respond to that. After 12 months, can you roll a kid over on his stomach in the crib after 12 months? Christy has the answer. After 12 months, they shouldn't be in the crib. They should be on a cot. And when they get on that cot, they should have a signature from their parent that allows them to go to the cot, unless there's a special case. That's in Indiana, and that is in Ohio. Okay? So we will make sure we do good sleep practices. Now, can you put a, what do you call it? I forgot that quick. I just got brain freeze. Pacifier. You know how the kid got the pacifier clipped to them and put it in their mouth? Can you put that in the crib with them while they're going to sleep? I got a no. I got a no. I got a yes. I got a no. I got a yes, but not a clip one. So Christy is saying that you can put a pacifier in their mouth as long as they don't have a clip on it. Do y'all all agree with that? So I got some different answers. Can a child that's 12 months and under have a pacifier in their mouth while they're laying down without the clip? just a pacifier, in their mouth while they're laying down, under 12 months. I got a yes. I got another one. I got another one. The yeses are winning. I got another one. I guess we're all in agreement. And you're right, we can. I need my children to be safe on field trips. That means permission slips. I need them to be safe on field trips, right? This is the biggest thing. Here's my pet peeve. I didn't say nothing to my crew. Me and my crew went out to Golden Corral with the kids the other day. And we was at Golden Corral, and you know what I didn't see? I did not see one attendance sheet. I did not see one backpack, with the water, the first aid, the blanket, all the stuff that goes if something happened to them while they're on there. I did not see any of that. So I didn't say anything, but you have to take your attendance sheet wherever you go when you got kids. You have to keep them accountable. That keeps them safe. You have to have a first aid kit on the bus. You have to have a first aid kit in your backpack just in case the bus don't have one. You have to have a bottle of water just in case you may have to wash something out of the kid's eye or wash off a cut. You have to have that attendance sheet. You have to have that attendance sheet. You have to monitor the program for safety. Make sure the program that you're in is safe, right? So, on page 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Yeah. I want you to focus on them more than anything else. But now, for all you administrators, I want you to focus on this right here. I just talked about it with someone else, and I want to say it again before I close. On page 34 of our book, and Chrissy, I'll make sure you get a copy of this. In fact, I think I got a book upstairs. I think I got your books upstairs. But on page 34, there's the suggested first aid contents and uses that you should have in your daycare. Now remember, people use this first aid kit, and ours is located in the kitchen here in Dayton. And it's the big kit. Now I do got mini kits all over the building too. I got mini kits. I should have mini kits in every one of my rooms. But I have the big kit. There's a big old box of stuff. Almost can do surgery. I mean, I got a big old box of stuff. But on page 34, it gives you about, 40 things that you should have in your box. Like a thermometer. Not the one with the glass and the mercury, but eye patches and dressing and pencil and pens and notepad and cold pack, wipes, tissues, whistle, flashlight, battery-powered radio. All these things should be in there. Emergency medication and supplies. List of emergency contacts should be in there. And we're talking about the list of emergency ambulance, hospital, doctors, these type of people that work with your facility. So if something ever happened, right? Another thing that most people don't think about is they got indoor and outdoor plants that may be harmful to children. And on page 35, it has a list of different, not just poison ivy, but there's a list. English ivory. You never heard of that? That's harmful to children. The weeping fig. depending on where you're at. The ripple ivory. And these are and these are great lessons in science, the STEM program, that you can teach your children about these different leaves. And let's go outside and see if we can find them. We can go outside and find these. They're harmful to us. We want to find them, for we know where they are, for we can get rid of them. On my playground in the back, I've got woods and water and a stream. And I got a group. I got a group of poison ivy bushes. And every year I got to go back there and dig that thing up and make sure it's good. And then in the trees, I got some bees. They got their nest there. And like this time of year right now, I can go back there and knock them down. Because right now, if you notice, things are beginning to bud now. Much earlier than it was last year. Last year, we was nowhere near this. We are extremely warm for this year. So now the bugs are starting to come out already. Flowers are budding, grass is coming up. So whatever you have to clear, this would be the best time to get it cleared now. So I want you guys to focus on that first aid kit, and I want you to focus on maybe them flowers. Any questions at this point? Teaching children about safety is on page 36. That will be in your competency statement. You can look at this in the stuff that you read in this first part about safety. You can use this to put in your competency statement. You can agree with it and say on page 36, it says ... And I'll go with that. But you have to put an OAC or ORC in each paragraph. I need at least one, or IC, to say that you know where to find it by law. School bus safety, car passenger safety. Sometimes we support our kids through car and bus. I want you to read it. Fire safety. I like to come in and do fire alarms when everybody's asleep. Water safety, poison safety. Then there's another part in the book that talks about modeling safe practices. Remember that? We model safe practices. I need us to do that. Administering first aid treatment, page 50. You only can do so much. It's not a whole lot of stuff you can do when we're administering medicine to our children, but there is some things we can do. Some teachers should develop emergency plans for their class. Some is a little bit more extensive than others. Let me give you this real quick. There's three types of scenarios for evacuations. There's in-place evacuation, in-place evacuation. In-place evacuation would be for what? Somebody tell me what an in-place evacuation would be. In-place evacuation. In-place evacuation. Come on, teachers. Come on, administrators. Let me hear you. In-place evacuation. Shooter in the room. Shooter outside. Tornado outside. Thunderstorm outside. What do? In-place evacuation. We take everybody and we put them in a separate room. In Dayton, we have one room where all the doors lock from the inside. So whoever's on the outside can't get in unless we let them in. If a tornado comes, we're all in one room, away from windows and doors and all that other stuff. On-site evaluation. On-site evacuation. On-site evacuation means that one side of my building, I'll give you a prime example. One side of my building, I have a grease trap. Well, the grease trap got smelling real bad, and we didn't know if there was any poisonous gases coming out of it. So we evacuated everybody on the other side of the building until we was able to put the ventilation up to remove the fumes that was going into the building. So we was able to move from one side of the building to another side. You can have a fire on one side of the building, and you have to go to the other side of the building. Hopefully you would go out of the building, but if it's a small fire, first thing you should do is just go on the other side of the building. If it's containable. If it's containable. My preference is just go outside. And then the last one is an off-site evacuation. That means we call fire, and we see how fast that you can get there. Engaging families in safe practices on page 55. Make sure your smoking and your carbon monoxide units in your room are working. Ours are wired up, so I don't have to worry about batteries. They are wired up. Call 911. Before you call 911, talk to your administrator. Go to your upline first. Don't do nothing out of order unless you're told, because they know the procedure too. Talk to your administrators first. Don't you call 911 and your boss or your administrator don't know that you did it, because it could have been something they could have did to stop that call. Protect children from accidental poison. One of the biggest things I'm seeing today is that you guys want to use hand sanitizer, Lysol disinfectant spray, and y'all want to leave them cans and bottles in the reach of children. Lotion, fingernail polish remover. I don't know why it would be in the daycare, but these chemicals do not belong around children. Stranger danger. By the time they get in preschool, we should be able to taught our children stranger danger. And then we want to partner with our families to create a family emergency plan. Some of our daycares where we have Hola, ¿cómo estás? No hable English, español. We have a young man that's in our daycare, Mr. Alvarez. So we teach him English, because his English is poquito. Not mucho gracias, not mucho grande. No. Sometimes it would be nice that you go visit one of your children's home. Pick a child that you have a real concern with. Talk to your administrator on how maybe you just want to go by and visit. So, with that said, read chapter 2, read chapter 3, because these are going to be in your competency statements. But before you do your competency statement, let me see it. Your learning environment is very good, because the learning environment shows you how to set up your daycare. Your learning environment is going to show how to set up your daycare. I wanted to do an informal unit today because we're doing 9 to 2. 9 to 2. And we go at it 4 hours. We're at it. But I want to be informal today. I want to make sure everybody got their books. So the next time we get online, we should probably be at Google Meets. We probably won't use this format. We'll use Google Meets. That way I can see all of you all, and I can talk to you, and I can ask questions. So we'll be doing Google Meets. We should have it all together. In the text, you will see Candace. It'll say Candace Reed, but it's Candace Preston. But just say Candace. and y'all just see Candace and make sure that you stay with her. Make sure she's in that CDA chat for we can get y'all information when we need it, because I would give it to her, she would give it to you. I will do a special setting. You guys come up with a day if you think you want to, maybe put an hour. Maybe we get on the phone or get on Google Meet. Let me know. I'm here available for you. I'll do that. I have to have at least 3 of you online from me before I do it. I have to have 3. Well, let's make it 4. We got 8 in the room. We got 8. Let's make it half. So if I get half the class, some of you feel you may not need it, fine. Some of you feel that you may need it. Let's get 4 of you all and say, hey, let's see if we can get him together for an hour on the phone. I will give you an hour anytime, any day of the week. Let me know. Just give me advance notice. I will do that. Indiana, Ohio, yeah. So we're in Miamisburg, Dayton, and Richmond, Indiana, 3 centers. Y'all can get together and say, hey, I think we need a refresher. I think I need to go over something. I think I got questions. Let's get him on the phone. Let's take an hour. You can do it in the morning. You can do it in the afternoon. You can do it in the evening. You let me know. No Sundays. Sundays won't be good for me, but the other 6 days I'm good. Any questions before we close out? Don't get happy because I'm saying we're closing out. Because your boss may not be happy that I'm closing out so early and he paying me all this money. The homework is preparing your competency statement, set it up. So on your paper you should say safe, you should say healthy, and you should say learning environment. And under them 3 titles, you should have 4 or 5 lines. 4 or 5 lines. Make sure that you have the OAC, the ORC, the IC cited. You can use the book to cite some stuff. So our first section is safe, healthy, and learning environments. So we're leaving now. That way it gives you time to go and read the book. If you don't have the book, don't trip out about it because Chrissy, I'll make sure I got a book for you. I'll make sure you get the book. And then I want y'all just to read it. 1, 2, 3. All 3. I need you to read 1, 2, 3. So if I leave now, that gives you an opportunity because you're going to stay with me to 2 o'clock. So I'm on the honor system right now. I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you to read 1, 2, and 3. So when I come back, say, did you read it? You can say, I read it. So instead of us doing it in class right now, I'm giving you the opportunity at your own leisure to skim through it, read it, make sure you got what you need. Can I have a check? How many people are still with us? Seems like I lost one. Sydney, Kiera, when did you come in? Christy, Beck, Maddie, Princess, who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Am I missing somebody? Everybody here? Okay. 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 So, any questions? Come on, ladies. Sometimes I don't think y'all understand that our state consultants that come see us, their job is to make sure that we have effective and good programs. Do you not know that some of them, after they do an inspection, they'll pull us to the side and say, that particular person you got in the room, it'd be probably best that you find another person. Do you not know they tell us that? Do you not know that someone in your daycare, because they're not on point, can make you lose points? I should have been a star 5 4 years ago. But I chose to help those in my community and let them come work for me. And a lot of the girls that came work for me didn't have the comprehension skill for me to go to the next level. And I could have went and paid teachers to come into my unit and do it, but I wanted to, train others and then let them get income at the same time because they were in public housing. But it stopped us from getting our Star 5. And sometimes, daycares, we want to say, look at us, I got a 5, I got a 5, I got a 5. And you can get a 5 and still don't know nothing. Because like I just told you, I can hire some teachers 3 hours a day, pay them $20 an hour. And then when the state come in, they can't tell them teachers no because they got credentials. They have to give me my Star 5. But then after I get my Star 5, guess what? I get rid of the teachers. And then I go hire me somebody else. So we don't want to circumvent the program. We want to be right in it. Now, are we all going to be perfect and 100% in everything we do? No. But eventually we will get there. We will. I'm listening. Yes, I want you to, in Ohio, ORC, OAC, competency statement that deals with safety, health, learning environment. What does that look like? Let's unpack it. Safety says that I put my kids in a seatbelt when they're in the car or bus. OAC may says, when a child is on the bus, make sure that he has a seatbelt on. So you just cite it. Okay? So I want you to cite it from either or, but make sure that ORC or OAC is in each, subtopic. Health, safety, learning environment. Okay? Indiana, all you have is the IC. So what does IC say about safety? What does IC say about health? What does IC say about learning environment? Believe me, it will say something about the three. In Ohio Revised Code, Administrative Code, it will say something about the three. Show me that you went to them resources and you can quote what they said. It'll be 5101.4-2.12. And I think that talks about supervision. But it'll tell you exactly where you found it at, and you hit me with the numbers. I know the numbers when I see them. And all you have to do is go in your search bar and put ORC or OAC and just put safety. And bam, it'll come right up. I'm giving you cheat. I'm helping you cheat right now. You just go to your on your computer and put in your search bar ORC, safety, ORC, health, ORC, learning environment, IC, health, IC, learning environment, IC, safety. And it'll come up and tell you what the code says. And you look at it and you write that code down on your competency statement, and then you add your words to it. Put 4 or 5 sentences. Just all I need. I don't need you to give me a book. I don't want no more than 20 lines. Does that make sense? So when I see you next week, I want to see that you at least got it started. Again, I gave to your trainer. Christy, make sure you give us your email address. I have Candace to do the CDA tracking worksheet. Now, if you look at the tracking worksheet, it says 316. It comes back and says 323. That's healthy. and it says 3:30. That's learning environment. So we will be on this for the next 3 weeks, okay? By the time we get to learning environment, by the time we get to the learning environment, you should have your competency statement done. So you got 3 weeks on each one of these modules, okay? 3 weeks. So this week we talked about safety. Next week we're going to talk about healthy. And the following week we're going to talk about learning environment. I want you to go read all 3 of these. So when we get to next week, we're going to do healthy. We're going to do healthy and healthy only. The following week, we're going to do learning environment and learning environment only. So we'll make sure, Christy, we'll send you the CDA tracking worksheet. We'll get that to you. Send your email address in this format. We'll make sure we get it to you in the next 30 minutes. And that way you can see the days. You know, we're talking about safety. You'll see the days we're going to talk about healthy, and the days we're talking about learning the environment. So on them days, be prepared. Be prepared. Anything else? Writing down 3 weeks from now. Your company statement will be due on April 6th, 2024. Your first competency statement will be done April 6th. When I see you next week, we'll start putting your book together. Your CDA portfolio. When I see you, we'll put the first section together. We got 3 weeks. I will help you put that first section together, tell you what you need, and we'll put that up. When we go to the next section, we'll put that up, and we'll do this one section at a time to make sure that you understand what we're doing. April the 6th. Faith have got their binders. Indiana, I have a binder for Indiana. From 9 to 2, Christy, we will be going. We have to go to Faith next week. Somebody from Faith, give us your address. Because I think it's set up Zoom, Faith, Zoom, and we alter back and forth. Right. All has to be done for this week. It's just to read in fact, let's do it this way. Let me make it easier. This week, read safety only. Safety only. This week. Next week, read healthy only. And then the last week, read learning environments. That way we don't get overwhelmed. Let's do 1 week at a time. Really, because I'd rather that you read all 3 every week. But maybe let's unpack it 1 week at a time. Let's do safety. Just read safety today. If you want to go forth. And I would skim over the other 2. But I would take my notes and do whatever I need in safety today. Next week, next Saturday, we'll do healthy. You know, we'll unpack that. And then the following week, we'll unpack learning environments. So this week, when we get off a line, all you have to do is go do safety. Get your notes for your competency. Next week, we'll do healthy. Get your notes for your competency. The next week, we'll do learning environments. Get your note for your competency. Look up what you need to look up. And then 4-6, I need you to turn that in, and we'll put it in your book. Okay. Christy, there's the address for next week. We'll be there at 9 a.m. If there's some reason that you cannot make it, I'll make sure I get you on, either we'll get you on the phone and let you hear it, or we'll have Google Meets together, and maybe we'll just get you on Google Meets and we'll do it Google Meets and live at Faith. We can do that. I'd rather you to come see their facility because they got a very nice facility. And I know you're looking for a car, Christy, so that's why we'll do Google Meets until you get your car, because you just had that accident, which was not your fault, but somebody hit her car while it was parked, put her out of commission. So we know you're looking for a new car. Take your time, but we'll make sure we have you on Google Meets or we have you on the phone, and you still will be present with us, whether you're there, whether you're not. Anything else? Have this helped anybody so far? Have you guys been helped? Did you learn anything on today? Hello, hello, hello. I keep forgetting I'm 8 seconds delayed. Do not be scared to ask questions according to your classroom. We're basing your experience and your tenure off of your classroom, whether you just got there or you've been there for a moment. Maybe you have a situation that is off the chain, and you may say, how do I handle this? And maybe we can give you that information that you can go in there Monday and handle it, and your classroom will be a little bit smoother. So if you have any questions, just go to the chat room that we have for the CDA. I'll see it when it comes up. I can answer it, or I can have Candace answer it. Yes, I see. Amen. All right, we have 8 minutes. Could you give me a little music, please? All the way over. The other way. The other way. Over here. Over here. The last one, the white one. No, no, no. The last one. Yeah. Yeah. No, no, the last slide, white one. Yeah. The white slide that you gave the music when we went on break? Oh. We got 8 minutes. I know y'all over there saying, woo, thought we had 2 more hours. You will get credit for your 4 hours on today. I'm trusting you to go back in these next 2 hours and read your safety. I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you. Just turn the volume down on the slide. I'm trusting you all to read your safety, and I'm trusting you all to take a couple points out of the safety to add in your competency statement, and then just go to your search and look up ORC, OAC, or IC. Have you did an ASQ, Maddie? Have you did an ASQ on the child? What I mean is there's an ASQ. You said the child is 7 months old. There's an ASQ for a child for 6 months, 12 months. And what you do is you give that particular document, because it's a screening document. You give that document to the parent and say, fill this out. And it'll tell you how, the child's social emotional is. It'll tell you, do the child cry at home? Because if the child's doing it at your station, apparently this child is doing it at home. There's a reason why. If it ain't because the child is wet, or because the child wants to be held, or want attention, or the child is sleepy, sometimes the child may be hungry because you want to feed that child. But get the ASQ. Have them fill out an ASQ for you can look at it, for you can see some things, and that way you can make an assessment. And then I will send you on the CDA chat, I will send you a form on how to deal with a screaming baby. Because it's okay if the kids scream. When it goes past 15 minutes, we got an issue. We got an issue after 15 minutes of crying, and the child don't settle down. Because sometimes you have to let that child just scream for 15 minutes, and then it will automatically break. Automatically break. But if the child begins to scream past 15 minutes, then there's some safe stops that we have to look at, and we have to start observing. And I would like you to start taking notes on this particular child. So when questions come to you about this child, you can say, at this time and at this time, this is what happened. And that way you cover yourself. You cover yourself. Because some kids are just not broke. They just cry. They ain't broke yet. So what you do is you let them just go forth for 15 minutes. And when they see that you ain't jumping into every move, they'll say, oh, she ain't coming. And then they just shut up. They stop crying. But if they continue to cry past that time, we got an issue. And it's up to us to find out what that issue is. Okay? I will send you a form in the chat, and everyone can get it. Now listen, there's another part in the back of your CDA book. It's called extra notes. And that extra notes or extra resources is like this thing I'm going to send you now. And you get this copy. You put this in the back of your CDA book. It says extra notes. Because once you finish all of this in your CDA book, keep getting larger and larger, and you may have to redo another one. Let me tell you what you can do with that CDA book. You can take that CDA book and you can write you a book and give it to people who just coming in. And who knows, you may be the next great author. Who knows? Christy says, a 7-month in Indiana as well. We did an ASQ, and the mother do one. She did one and compared it. It was that the kid was hungry, had a hunger issue, and we started feeding the baby. And I guess the food was what she needed. She's doing great, meeting and exceeding her milestone. So the problem with her 7 month, Christy said she had a 7 month, was going through the same problem. She did an ASQ on the kid, and she found out that the kid just needed to eat more. She ate more, got satisfied. Now she's doing, past her milestone. There's certain milestones that each kid have. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I will come all the way up to 60. There's 60 months that a kid should be doing this in the 43rd month. If he's not doing that at the 43rd month, we have to go back. Eric Erickson is who we use in our philosophy. It's called the stages and ages. We'll get to that. We will get to that because an infant is trust or mistrust. If he don't trust you, you're going to have some problems. And a toddler is talking about autonomy. He wants to say, I'm independent. Because if you don't let me be independent and you always helping me, you always bathing me, you always doing that, guilt and shame comes. That's why I caution you mothers. who have children, that you don't let them be autonomy, but they got to be connected to you all the time. That's your baby. You don't want to let them go, and you want to rock them. Then they become shameful, and they become guilty, and their autonomy is never there, and we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that. Then what happens with that is he becomes a cherubim too, because now he got to have his way. At 2 years old, they have to learn autonomy. But if you always grabbing them and holding them and, and catering to them, you take that away from them. And they can't grow effectively. But we're going to deal with that down the road when we come to stages and ages and what you should do as an infant teacher, what you should do as a preschool teacher on dealing with these kids. Because when you talk about the preschooler, he should be industrious, right? And if he don't be industrious where he can, put things together and make things work and put his sentences together, right? Then there's a shame that comes over him. And then he don't want to do it no more. And then anxiety comes, and then depression comes. And because we didn't do it right, now we got a depressed kid. We got a kid that has anxiety in our shop because something we did. And that's why your modules are very important. So I'll see you guys on the next one. I really wish we could go ahead and do the 2 hours. Y'all ready for 2 more hours? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Father God, we thank you right now. We thank you for the class. We thank you for the journey that we're going on. God, continue to bring kids in our way that we may educate them. God, that we may be an example before them. God, that we may model the way you want us to model. God, we love you on today. We love everything that you're doing. God, open doors for everyone under the sound of my voice. Open their understanding. Open their ears of comprehension. God, let opportunities come like never before. Continue to heal them, God, in a very special way. And God, let finance and opportunity flood their houses that may be the best teachers they can be. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless you all on today. Don't forget, keep me up in your CDA chat. Christy, we get ready to send you, what did we say we were going to send Christy? The tracking worksheet. And then Maddie, we get ready to send you that piece on the 7 months, but I don't think you may need it now because Christy may just answered that for us. So I think we got it, but if anything else, let me know. So God bless y'all. We'll see you later. We're signing off.